On to alarming news coming in from the UK, where a damning public inquiry report has painted a shocking portrait of the UK's response to COVID-19, calling it too little, too late. And basically saying that thousands of lives could have been saved, thousands of lives. The inquiry basically highlighting a critical lapse in the leadership and a failure by the then Prime Minister Boris Johnson to grasp the actual scale of the crisis, a failure to act when every day counted, among other aspects. The report describes February 2020 as a lost month when Johnson not chairing a single COBRA meeting on COVID-19 and the government's response stalling even as the virus spread. The report criticizes the then Health Secretary Matt Hancock and top official Chris Wormald for failing to correct misleading claims about the government's preparedness.
Failure to lock down earlier may have cost lives. Had the lockdown been imposed 1 week earlier than the 23rd of March, the evidence suggests that the number of deaths in England alone in the first wave up until the 1st of July 2020 would have been reduced by 48%. That is approximately 23,000 fewer deaths.
Now, overall, the inquiry says thousands of the UK's 227,000 COVID-19 deaths were avoidable, adding that an earlier lockdown could have cut the first wave deaths by 48%. 48%. We're talking about lives being lost here. The report says the lockdown undoubtedly saved lives, but left lasting scars on the society, disrupting childhood, damaging the economy and delaying non-COVID treatment. The report argues that if decisions had been taken earlier, the UK might have avoided the more draconian lockdowns that followed. And the report also makes several key recommendations, warns that without urgent reform, the UK risks repeating the same mistakes. These recommendations, including ensuring that decisions and their implications are clearly communicated to the public, the need for greater parliamentary scrutiny of the use of emergency powers.
The very least the public is entitled to expect is that those making the rules will abide by them. Across the UK, there were instances and allegations of rule breaking by ministers and advisers that caused huge distress and undermined the confidence of the public in their governments. Finally, under this heading, there was a toxic and chaotic culture at the heart of the UK government, and the relationship between ministers in Northern Ireland was poor.
With more than 230,000 COVID-19 deaths recorded in the UK and a long road of recovery ahead, this report demands not just reflection, but accountability. Prime Minister Keir Starmer says the government will carefully consider the findings. The country is now waiting for what comes next. And in sharp contrast with countries that chose a somewhat different path, countries like Sweden, Uruguay, Iceland, for example, never imposed full national lockdowns. No blanket stay-at-home orders were issued. No severe restrictions on movement. Instead, they relied on targeted measures like extensive testing, also limiting large gatherings, isolating cases and managing the borders. 5 years later, many of these countries emerged with lower death rates, less economic damage and far fewer social disruptions as compared to the UK. Just think of the families of those who lost their loved ones to COVID-19. Who will take accountability for the lives lost is the bigger question. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.